So you have a business idea, or you're inspired by an awesome video on dropshipping or e-commerce in 2022 that's made someone a millionaire, and you've decided, you know what, New Year's resolution, you want to get into e-commerce or start a business for yourself, but you don't know where you're going to start. And your biggest question is, okay, you've got a product that you think you can sell, but how are you going to price the product? It's always the biggest question all the clients ask me. Today, we're going to answer that question, how to price products in 2022. Let's get right to it. Hi guys, my name is Clem. Welcome to Making Dollars Make Sense. Today we'll be looking at, like I said, how to price products in 2022. And if you're trying to figure out how to do your pricing, try to figure out how to reduce the chances of you making a loss or losing money and maximize your profit, you're definitely in the right place. So let's get right to it. So let's start by understanding the challenge. Now, the challenge that we've got is, we've got a new e-commerce business, no financial training, and we want to understand three key things. How do you price your products? Is there a way to forecast how much you will make? And what if you have an idea and how much you need to make a year to make it worthwhile? So you've got an idea of how much profit you want to stay with at the end of the year after you've paid all your costs and everything is sold. And that's what's going to make it worthwhile. But you want to try and know that in advance before you go in and start ordering stuff and spending money. So before we do that, what we need to understand is, what is pricing? Simply put, pricing is a process whereby a business sets a price at which it will sell its products and services. That's the easy part. The challenging part is to try and understand what the right pricing is for the products that you have. A lot of the times, if you watch different entrepreneurs and mentors and people on YouTube, there are lots of great videos out there that talk about, your multipliers. So you take your product cost, if it's $5, multiply it by 2.5 as a multiple, and then you add a markup of between 50 and 70%, say for example, and then that gives you a price. Now, that's great for trying to do a back of the envelope calculation, but you will find in most cases your direct cost, which is what you actually buy the products for, is covered by the customer when they buy it, right? And then your markup, what you're hoping for when you're doing it that way, is you're hoping that you've put enough markup and your multiple is enough to cover those costs that you incur in running your business that aren't particularly attributable to a unique product. So before we get into prices, we just need to understand a few fundamentals of our business. So for you guys that have been there, done that, and totally understand it, bear with us, but we'll probably get into it for everyone who's starting out. So we've got key financial metrics. Now, the key financial metrics in a business that we need to understand are revenue, net profit, direct costs, and overheads. Now, I've split them into two sections. On the left, I've got what I'm calling the good bits. So that's the revenue and the net profit. So that's the money that comes into the business, or hopefully for net profit, that's what we get to keep. And then you've got the not so good bits, but they're part of doing business. You've got your direct cost, so that's what you actually buy your products for. And then you've got what's called your overhead cost. Now, your overhead cost, simply put, the cost that you incur in the process of running a business that you can't attribute to a particular product. So think things like marketing spend, packaging costs, sample, startup fees, Shopify fees, those sorts of costs where whether you sell one product or 1,000 products, you're going to incur that cost. But you have to pay for those based on the amount of money you get from your revenue. So let's get into how we do pricing. So I consult for a lot of businesses around the world. A lot of my clients who look at pricing ask me, how do I do my pricing? How do I model and figure out what I should be pricing the products at? And what I tend to do with them is I go and set them up on a platform that I run, which is called Marginfire. Now, what Marginfire is basically is an online business. It's an online software. So what is Marginfire? Marginfire is an online software that allows the user to model and estimate what the pricing needs to be for them to either achieve a desired target profit for the year, or alternatively look at it from a pricing perspective where they set a target price that they are aiming to sell a product at and figure out how much revenue that's going to give them, how it'll cover their overheads and direct costs, and therefore how much profit they forecast to be left with at the end of the business. So over here, I've just set up a quick business called Making Dollars, and we're going to say, you know what we want to do in 2022 is to make a desired annual profit of $50,000. Then we're going to set up some products. So say for example, we're going to be selling t-shirts. We buy these t-shirts wholesale at $5, and we're going to order, let's say, 8,000 of them over the year, and we think we're going to sell the t-shirts at $19.99. And then we're going to set up a second product that we think we're going to sell, which is going to come over here. We go to add product, and we're going to go snapback caps. And these cost $8.50 from wholesale, and we think we're going to do 250 of these, and we're going to be selling these for $39.99, and we save. And then we're going to add a third product, and we think we're also going to have something, we're going to have some dresses in there, and say they cost us maybe $18.75 from manufacturer. We're going to do 1,200 units of these over the year, and we're aiming to sell these based on what we see in the market that we're selling in. We're probably going to be selling this for $49.99. Okay, so what we've done there right quickly is to set up 3 products: t-shirts, snapback caps, and dresses. For the t-shirts, we're buying them at $5. We're going to buy 1,000 units, and we think we're going to sell them for $19.99. Snapback caps, we're going to buy them for $8.50 a unit. We're going to buy 250 of them, and that's what we plan on selling. So we plan to buy all of these and sell out of them in the course of the year. And we're going to be selling these at $39.99. And then we've got dresses, which we buy at $18.75. We're going to do 1,200 of them, and we're going to be selling them at $49.99. Okay, so we've got our direct costs effectively, we've got our units, we've got 3 products that we're going to be selling. Next thing that we need to do is to enter our overhead cost. Now, if you recall what I was saying, your overhead cost is basically the cost that you incur in the course of running a business that you can attribute to a particular product. So for example, when you buy that t-shirt from the wholesaler, you know that each t-shirt is going to cost you $5. But then you've got overhead costs, like for example, we're going to do a startup because it's a startup business. We're going to go set up startup costs, and maybe we ordered some product samples from our manufacturers. And we're going to go yearly because we're only going to do it once in the year. We're going to do it in the month of January, and it's going to cost us $200 to get those samples in. So what we've done there is we've created an overhead cost under startup costs. Now, your samples, you don't know, maybe you got t-shirts, maybe you got snapback caps, maybe you got dresses, maybe you got a combination of all 3. Maybe there are more color variations for the dresses, so therefore you are going to not really have a split of what that 200 is in terms of your samples, which is why it becomes an overhead cost. And then we're going to set up another overhead cost, and it's going to be an ongoing expense. A lot of the businesses that you guys will be running will have some form of paid advertising, so we're going to go with the first one being Facebook ads, and we're going to be doing this monthly. So we're going to set a budget that we're going to target to do monthly, and every month we're going to target spending $1,000 on Facebook ads to push that volume. And then we're going to add another expense. We're going to go again ongoing costs, ongoing expenses, and then we're going to go again paid advertising. And this is going to be for Google ads, and again we're going to do this monthly, and for Google ads we're going to be spending $500 every month. And then we've got other expenses. For example, if we think about the platform that we're selling on, and for the illustration that we're doing here, we're going to go with ongoing expenses for your business, which are going to be platform costs. Now you can name this whatever you want to call it based on how you understand it. And let's say we're going to be selling on Shopify. So we're going to have Shopify fees. It's going to be monthly. And I'm just going to pick an abstract number, call it $75 a month for Shopify. And then we're going to add another overhead cost, and that is going to be packaging. So because we're going to be selling all these products, we're going to buy them wholesale. We're going to have to package them in some way, shape, or form and have those sent out to our customers. So we're going to buy, say, boxes, and we're going to say packaging supplies as a packaging cost, and we're going to just buy one batch for the entire year, and we're going to buy this batch in January as we're starting now, and say we're going to spend $2,000 on that. Right, so what we've done here quite quickly is we've set up a few overhead costs and they're grouped by startup costs, ongoing expenses, packaging costs. So we've got our business set up. Business is called Making Dollars. We're targeting $50,000 of profit for the year. We're selling 1,000 t-shirts for $20 each, which costs us $5. We're selling 250 snapback caps for $39.99, which cost us $8.50 each. And we're going to be selling 1,200 dresses for $49.99, which cost us $18.75 to purchase. And then in terms of costs, we bought some samples. We're going to buy them once, so the frequency is yearly. It was $200 that we spent on those samples. And then paid advertising, we did Facebook ads. So we're planning to do Facebook ads monthly, so it's going to be in every single month. We're going to spend $1,000 each month. Google ads, $500 each month. And Shopify fees, $75 each month. Then we've also got packaging supplies that we're going to buy. We're going to buy them in bulk for the year, and it's going to cost us $2,000. So what we've just done there is we've set up the fundamentals of the business. So if we come here to annual metrics, what we're going to see is your revenue, your costs, your overheads, and your profit. So if we go back to what we're talking about initially, which is the key financial metrics that we have in a business. The key financial metrics in a business that you need to understand: revenue, profit, direct costs, overheads. If we flip back to our system over here, that's your revenue, so direct costs, overheads, and annual profit. So therefore, in order for us to buy 1,000 t-shirts, 250 snapback caps, 1,200 dresses, we're going to spend $29,625 to buy the product cost. So that's what we're paying to our wholesalers. But we're also going to have all these costs that we're going to incur in the cost of doing business. So we're going to spend $200 to buy samples. We're going to buy packaging supplies for $2,000 as well. And we're going to have ongoing expenses mainly made up of our Facebook ads at $1,000 a month. So therefore $12,000 over the year. Google ads, $500 a month, $6,000 over the year. And then Shopify fees are $75 a month. So $900 over the year. So what the system has now done is said, remember, if we set up the business, we said we want to make $50,000 in profit at the end of the year. What the table over here is going to do for us is going to calculate that based on the number of units we're going to buy and sell, how much we are going to buy the units for at wholesale. It's going to calculate our break-even price. In other words, for us to break even, that is to not make a loss, not make a profit, so cover our purchase costs and cover our overhead costs, we're going to have to sell the t-shirts for a minimum of $8.57. We're going to sell our snapback caps for a minimum of $14.56 and our dresses for a minimum of $32.11. But if we want to make our desired annual profit of $50,000, what it's going to give us is our desired sell price. So for our t-shirts, we actually need to be selling at $17 a t-shirt, snapbacks at $28.90 a snapback, and dresses at $63.75. Now, when we think of pricing, and we're going to look at snapback caps, which is a very good example over there, the system has calculated that we need to sell those at $28.90. Now, you guys have all been shopping. There's such a thing called psychological pricing. I'm not going to get into the detail of what that is, but basically you'll have seen a lot of the times pricing like $9.99, $19.99, which is why when we set up our target pricing over here within the business, where we're entering our target pricing, we use psychological marketing where we're saying t-shirts, we're going to sell them for $19.99, snapback caps $39.99, dresses $49.99. What this next table then does is it calculates for you that based on that target sell price, how much money are you going to make? So if we sell 1,000 t-shirts, 250 snapback caps, and 1,200 dresses, we will make $39,233.50. And this is how we determine what we're going to sell for, how much we've got in the budget to cover our overhead costs. Now, the question then becomes, if you're going to be doing discounting, for example, how do you know at what point you can't discount beyond before you start making a loss? That's where your break-even pricing comes. So in other words, as long as you're going to not discount below $8.57 per t-shirt, assuming you sell your 1,000 t-shirts, you're going to be okay. And that pretty much is what pricing is. So we're just going to flick back to our deck over here. So what are the key drivers for pricing? Now that we've looked at our system and we've understood, based on our target pricing, based on our break even, based on our overhead costs, what we're looking to sell this for, and we can see that we're going to make a healthy margin, we need to understand a bit more about what affects pricing. So the main drivers for pricing are cost, competitive pricing, price elasticity, and marketplace. Cost is what we buy from the supplier. You negotiate that as best as you can without compromising on quality. So that's pretty much set for you, because manufacturers will always have a minimum cost that they'll be willing to sell the product to you for wholesale. And then you got competitive pricing. Now, if you're operating in a Shopify market space or an Amazon or an Etsy or any of these market spaces, even if it's a physical store, there is a saturation point where the competitors are selling a similar product for that a customer will pick and choose. And if they're price driven, then if you overprice your product and someone else is selling a similar quality product that does the same thing for a lower price, then you're probably not going to get the sale. Then you have price elasticity, which is basically a measure of which we try to understand how much changes in price will impact a customer's decision to buy. And then obviously your marketplace, if you're on Amazon, they're probably tens of 20, 30, 40 different sellers who are also selling similar products to you. So again, you're trying to compete in that space. So pricing is key. If you get your pricing right, you'll be in the best position to make some money. If you get it wrong, you'll make a lot of sales if you're lucky, but after all the hard work, you'll be left with very little profit, or worst case scenario, you'll actually make a loss. And ladies and gentlemen, that is what pricing is. So again, what I've used in this video is Marginfire. The link is down below. If you'd like to find out more about Marginfire or different training courses on how to use it, it's a very powerful tool, and you could use it for a startup business. You could use it for a business that you're already running, or you could use it just to try and trial out ideas and make sure that you're in a position to make as much money as you can without risking your hard-earned dollars. And that concludes today's videos. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this useful or enjoy the content, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing if you haven't already. We'll see you in the next one. And remember, making dollars always makes sense. Peace out. Cheers.